My partner Stephen Fischler and I merged companies in July of 1999 and founded the new Metropolis Collectibles, being the largest dealership for vintage comic books in the world. In 2007, we started a new company called ComicConnect.com, which was our online auction site. Metropolis Collectibles is the largest buyer of vintage comic books in the world. We've amassed an incredible inventory of over 150,000 vintage comic books. We have the world's largest selection of CGC-graded comic books as well. We hold the world record for the 3 most expensive comic books ever sold, including the Action Comics #1 first appearance of Superman from June 1938 in 9.0 condition. It's the world record holder for the most expensive comic book ever sold at $2,161,000. We also sold what was the world record for a short period of time, an Action #1 in 8.5 condition for $1.5 million, and an Amazing Fantasy 15, which is the first appearance of Spider-Man, in 9.6 condition for $1.1 million. We do have a great security system. All of our employees are run through rigorous background checks before they're hired. We also have a great insurance policy through Collectibles Insurance Agency, CIA. They cover comic books, original art, collectibles, things of that nature. We've been dealing with them for years, and they've been extremely good to us, and we've been extremely good to them. We recommend them to all of our clients. I definitely have clients who have, a $50,000 collection that they insure. I have clients who have multi-million-dollar collections that they insure. They want to really make sure they're protecting their portfolio, and because you have to understand that people that are buying comic books, they do have a passion and love for comic books, collectibles, pop culture in general, but they also look at these items as a form of investment. And just in the same way you'd protect your home, even though you live in your home, you still look at it as a form of investment. You have insurance on your home, your car, you have insurance on your car. You want to have insurance on your collectibles. Collectors feel like they are insured through their homeowners' policies. Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. And finding out when it's too late is a tragedy. There are people who just simply never got their comic books insured. I have a client, I've been trying to buy his collection for about 10 years now. For quite some time, I kept saying, you're not doing anything with these books. Why don't you sell them? And enjoy the money. And he didn't. Sadly, 75% of his collection got wiped out in Hurricane Sandy, and he had absolutely no insurance. When you hear about these types of things, it really makes you think about how valuable it is to have insurance on your collectibles, whether they be comic books, original comic art, memorabilia, toys, antiques, what have you. Well, you have to realize when you're dealing with a paper collectible that if you have a fire and the firemen come and put it out, you're probably going to get damaged material. If they don't put it out, it's all going to go up in fire. You worry about these things, but you take whatever necessary precautions you can. We have fire extinguishers throughout our showroom and offices. We're actually right across the street from a fire department. One of my best friends is a lieutenant in the fire department here in New York City, so I get advice from him every year on how we can make things safer in our offices. Our systems work here perfectly well. We have them checked out, and so we try to be in compliance with all the laws and make sure that we're up to speed and up to code with everything in the offices. For insurance purposes, you do have the challenge that collectibles do increase and decrease in value. So what you want to do is you want to probably do a review every year when your policy is coming up for renewal to see what the current value is. And if you don't know how to evaluate your collection, you can come to someone like me and I'll do the evaluation for you. I don't think we have anything here that's priceless. Everything has a general idea of market value. And even if something's a unique item, you can always get an idea from something similar to it. Or you bring it to market and you see what happens. I'll give you a for instance. It's one of a kind. It's from 1931 from the Frankenstein original movie. It showcases the images of the bride-to-be and the Frankenstein monster. What's interesting about this piece is these large 6-sheet pieces were glued to the sides of buildings for advertisements. The gentleman who owned this piece, he worked for the movie theaters and he liked the image and decided to keep it. He put it away. Decades later, he passed on. One of his relatives contacted us about it. And what was interesting was when they contacted us, we couldn't figure out what this was from because nobody had really seen this poster since 1931. What ended up happening is my partner, Stephen, was going through a press book, which is what they sent out to movie theater owners to tell them about the different promotional pieces that they would send to promote the movies. He stumbled across a page where it had a small picture of that image on it. And he went, oh my God, it's the 6-sheet. and quickly purchased the piece, paid a lot of money for it, and it's been hanging on our walls here in the offices for about 15 years now. It is probably worth somewhere around $2 million. The reason we don't know is because it's the only one in the world. But what we can do is we can compare it to other record prices for different types of posters in the marketplace. And what we do is we say, well, the most expensive poster sold for X number of dollars. This is this many times better than that, and it's one of a kind. Let's estimate the value at $2 million. One of my favorite pieces in my collection is the piece right behind me, King Kong painting. It's the original art to the 1976 Dino De Laurentiis remake of King Kong. I was fortunate enough to find out about this piece coming to market shortly after 9/11, which was a very sad time here in New York City. It's still hard for me to talk about that event. And I saw the piece and I just knew I had to have it. King Kong, as a child, that movie meant so much to me. Seeing the original was great, but when you saw the one that was at the Twin Towers, that was like really captured a moment in time for me. Thank God we have only had a few claims over the last 10, 15 years. It's been a very positive experience, and it's also nice to know when you go to sleep at night that you're insured.